Immersive media. All of you are working actively either as directors or directing projects that are dealing with new technologies and how they can be used for the SDGs.
The reason why it's been important for us to experiment with emerging media and its connection to the SDG goals is we feel like it has a unique quality that allows people who tend to distance themselves from the problems that happen with development. It tends to be a medium to bring them into that space. So the piece that we created that is on display here, Area 1, is about a community that was displaced in northern Guinea due to a mining project, and it was created to reach out to investors in that project to emphasize their role, because without the money flowing in, these types of projects and the violence that occurs around them would never happen. And it's very easy for investor groups to just be like, we didn't have really anything to do with this, we just lent them money. So we feel like VR, emerging media, has the potential to really connect those people who distance themselves.
And through VR, we can give people kind of an experience with the daily lives of those Maasai people and how they are trying to fight for their land, for their lives, for their cows, for their wildlife. And that's why we believe VR is such a unique opportunity, because it can bring you to places that you would never go to yourself.
Is very much in education, and Z School was named for this generation of young people, but also this third dimension. So you have an X and a Y axis, which is 2D, and Z is three-dimensional axis. And for me, it was really important to provide opportunities for young people to think about, what are they passionate about? What are the stories they want to tell, but also to learn really powerful new technologies in the process as creators and not just as consumers. There's plenty of consuming going on already, but how can we take these tools, which are really very powerful, and allow young people to express themselves, to share the stories that are important to them with the rest of their generation. We have some amazing students here from the Think Global School, and they just provide some great use cases. Had the really awesome opportunity to be with them in Japan, and they were at, for example, the Hiroshima Peace Park, and captured that and helped tell the story of what happened there with the atomic bomb with a clear audience in mind. So they're actually sharing these experiences with younger students, not only around peace, but fantastic projects related to wellness, related to Japanese culture, and very much sort of showing what is possible with these new technologies. We're also very interested in augmented reality, and some fantastic use cases being developed there as well. But I guess in a line, I would say these technologies, without question, are very much the future of computing. They are going to be central to this generation, to all of our lives going forward. It's an important time and moment right now that we're thinking, how can they be used for good, and really applying creativity to them today.
Kind of step back and let the students kind of come up with their own ideas, choose which goals are important to them, so that we're not preaching to them, but they are telling us what's different, and they can tell us what they see and how they see the world and how the world can be better. And so I've been pretty proud to allow students and give students this power over the last few years, and we've had over 100 amazing awarded 360 films that have gone on to change city councils' minds and to change the minds of VIPs who come to visit the school and actually have tangible change within their communities that then spreads to other communities around the world facing some of the same issues.
I would like to do a blanket question again, but maybe for you too, especially that since you're working with young people, and I've been so pleasantly surprised to meet them. They're incredible and bringing such good stories to the festival. So I would like to ask you, what has surprised you about working with these new technologies and working together with young people? And for you too, what has surprised you about these technologies?
So I'll admit, when I first heard about giving this technology to students and letting them tell stories, I was skeptical. Hopeful but skeptical. I did not realize I didn't know what youth would be able to accomplish with the technology, but I was pleasantly surprised in our first semester how they were not only able to grasp just the idea of 360 and that you are surrounded by the image, but then to take us to places to be kidnapped, to understand human trafficking, to ride along the journey of your bacon from pig to your plate, right? To understand what change actually is like, seeing a beach being cleaned up. So I've been pleasantly surprised that students have been able to take this seriously, but also have fun with the technology and not fear it and experiment with it, and to really kind of shock us into seeing something new from a new perspective.
I agree with all of that, and really it shouldn't be a surprise, but what always amazes me is how quickly young people can figure things out on their own. And, you know, the Think Global students are a perfect example. So I don't think there was a lot of adults telling them how to create with these tools or even how to use the tools. And that's actually a really exciting superpower, especially since incredible new hardware and software is coming out all the time. That is how they're going to learn. So for example, HoloLens 2, Oculus Quest, you know, it's young people like this who are going to show us how they can be used. And even though there's a part of your brain that knows that they're good at that, it's just really amazing to watch it in action.
Interesting how, you know, at first VR just seems so inaccessible, and step by step it just breaks through those borders. And, you know, the Oculus Go, untethered headsets that are under $200, it's slowly creeping into the mainstream, and we're still waiting for that tipping point, but I think it really shows a lot of promise that the technology is persisting, young people are persisting, everyone is persisting in this storytelling despite all of the skepticism about it, and it's just very inspiring to see people dedicated to exploration and experimentation.
In our case, you know, the technology is developing so quickly, but our favorite platform is called Uptail, and it's a beautiful authoring tool, but it also has the ability to capture assessment, and it has the ability to publish easily, to collaborate on projects, and very, very intuitive. So the other key point I think we should say, we're talking about AR and VR, but there really is a convergence of different technologies here, and the ability or the potential of AI with VR storytelling to understand people's behavior in that space has enormous implications for teaching, for learning. It needs to be used in schools, and forward-thinking schools are already designing curriculum around the SDGs. It needs to be used more by brands. It needs to be used just as part of a common language, and that's how we'll really turn that corner. And I think that starting with this generation, if we can be using these technologies and frame projects and curricula around these goals, then they'll help lead the way in that shift.